Jeff Koinange live at the Intercontinental Hotel. Here, talking it like we see it. Who better than the man with the two initials of the same kind? Simply KK, Karanja Kabage. Constitutional lawyer, well-established businessman. He knows his way around this political landscape. And yes, he is holding nothing back. At Karanja Kabage, at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag simply KK. KK, let's go to the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, built by the Chinese, KK.
Yes.
That's, by the way, that's one thing the networks were kept emphasizing.
Yes.
Huh? Obama, first U.S. sitting president to address the African Union in a building built by the Chinese.
Yes.
But that wasn't the point, was it,
Yes.
KK?
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with this point.
No, nothing. Let me put it this way. Again, for the first time in the history of the AU, we have an American president addressing the entire leadership of the continent.
It's a big deal.
It's truly a big, it's historical. What was the message? The message is we need dignity as our people of this continent. How do we underwrite the dignity of the people of Africa? First, trading among ourselves. That was a very important message, that we need to have intra-African trade. Excellent. He couldn't have put it better. Secondly, he says, when it comes to a question of leadership of the people of this continent, they are not different from any other people in demanding good governance, in demanding democracy, in demanding that there should be leadership change when it is within the laws of the land. No leader should assume a position of what you can call you should assume the role of allocating themselves the position that without me, the country will collapse.
Obama alluded to that, didn't he?
You get what I mean?
He said if you say that,
right,
that means you haven't done a good job.
Absolutely. He said, then you are not a good leader because you should have been nurturing the succession. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's very, very important for people to understand. And he wasn't actually addressing only the leadership of the continent in terms of leaders. He was addressing, it was a global message, but resonating with Africans even more importantly. But he was also talking about leadership of corporate, because the paradigm is the same. If you are leading an organization, you ought to make sure that there is some succession. You cannot assume you are the only one that can do things. Now, when he was addressing that message, it resonated very well with the African youth, who are the majority. And to me, that was most important. Now, did he hurt anybody? Of course he must have really touched the raw nerve of a number of them. Why? Because some of them have assumed without me being in power, the country will collapse. In other words, what they have done, they have equated themselves with the country, which is a fallacy.
Mobutu-esque.
Absolutely, it's a fallacy. Yes.
Burundi.
Yeah.
It almost tore itself apart. There was fighting and killing for a while. Then African leaders just said, you know what, just hold elections and you can stand again. And Nkurunziza is back in.
You know, it's a tragedy, because you see, what we are trying to bring, what we are basically saying is that leadership is infallible, which is a fallacy. No leadership that is infallible. All of us are mortal, and at one time or the other, we shall meet our maker. But we must never allow a country to be held hostage by an individual, whoever he is, because the country is bigger than anybody.
The leaders who were there listening to that speech, KK,
yes.
You think they were cringing when they heard this?
Well, definitely quite a number of them were wishing they were not there. There is no doubt about that. That when this was being told, and he was able to single out a number of them. You know, so for me, I looked at that speech as most critical because it was a man who cares for this continent speaking to the leadership of this continent and telling them, let us change the paradigm of what we have been used to in the past and retire honorably. You'll be honored. Look at Mandela. Mandela could have gone on until the third time if he wanted.
Yeah, until he died.
But he said, no. My biggest role was to liberate South Africa. You are now independent. Now let another person take over. And we had, you know, your good friend. Yeah,
Thabo.
Thabo Mbeki became the president. And now we have a crown. And excuse me for saying that. All right? You know, and there it is. But the country of South Africa is going on. They will make mistakes. It doesn't matter we're going to get that we're going to produce Mandelas every minute. They only come once in a lifetime. Yeah. However, that experience is not bad. Do you see Africa changing, KK? Because look at Nigeria. You mentioned Nigeria a while ago with Obasanjo and his transition. What about Goodluck Jonathan, who's trying for his second and a half term, if you will, because you know he came in the middle of Yar'Adua's rule. And he tried, and the people said no. But that's a very good example that in a democracy, you sell your program, and the people must be able to come in, yes, you deserve another term. And that's why I said earlier on when you asked me about whether Uhuru was endorsed or not, I said, no, don't be under illusion. He has to work very hard to be re-elected. Can he be elected? Of course he can be re-elected. But he has to win the Kenyan population because he has only one guarantee, only one term. The second term is the re-election. And that re-election is a tough game. But he has what it takes to be re-elected. But there is no guarantee. We must be able to say that. And Kenyans must also be able to accept that we can change leaders very democratically. And we can have those leaders who have retired, like I saw Kabage in State House, very comfortable. He was there, invited as a leader. I'm sure His Excellency, the former President Arap Moi, probably was invited, but he may not have come. Now, it is very good for us to see what I can call a class of ex-presidents in this country, like you have in the U.S. You know, there are about 3 or 4 of them alive. Still alive, That's right. It's a very good to be honoring our ex-president, or as presidents for that, or presidents for that matter. That's what we want, so that we can be able to invite them to give us wise counsel when it is necessary. KK, were you impressed at the fact that even with his host country, he didn't spare Ethiopia? Of course. You see, Obama is not there to speak to you in order for you to be happy. No. He tells you because there are certain specific principles on which the foreign policy of America is executed. But the beauty about Obama is the way he says it, right on the face. You like it, you don't like it, that's what it is. And that's what he did when he was in this country. And that's what you need. You need an honest visitor. Somebody who is not going to tell you things in order for you to be excited about them, but to reflect on what he has said. And I think, to me, I also like the Prime Minister, the way he was explaining. He said, we have been actually testing democracy for the last 20 years only. In other words, he was acknowledging, yes, we are going through difficult time, but we know we are not perfect. I liked it because he didn't defend it. He acknowledged where they are coming from as Ethiopians. And I believe Ethiopia is going to come of age, as a matter of fact. I think it will take off, KK. Oh, absolutely. It's waiting. It's just a little window. Absolutely. Yeah, we're almost there. Yes. But the biggest disappointment, KK, is Africa's youngest nation. Yes. Even Obama mentioned that, how 2011 and 9, when they were signing, 2011 independence, they were all excited. Susan Rice, who was with him there, she went with her son to the inauguration, KK. You know, our country has made a lot of sacrifices for South Sudan. A lot of sacrifices. And I can say this. I know a number of those Sudanese leaders. And what I'm not able to understand is, do they realize what a golden opportunity they have to make history? Because Southern Sudanese have gone through torture, suffering for so many years under the North. What about now when they are independent? It's truly a very, very sad episode that we are seeing the Southern Sudanese suffering when their leaders are busy quarreling among themselves. So for me, I would say that we really need to intercede on their behalf. IGAD needs to do whatever they have to do in order to make sure that South Sudan has peace. And when South Sudan has peace, Kenya will prosper. It is in our self-interest as a country that South Sudan really prospers.
Absolutely. Obama gave those two leaders, Salva Kiir and Riek Machar, he gave them till August 17th. You heard that? Ultimatum. Absolutely.
It's an ultimatum. And I totally agree with that. Because you cannot kill people in order to perpetuate yourself, either in leadership or in opposition. No. South Sudan population, what it deserves and must have today is peace, in order for them to nurture their country and grow and exploit the enormous opportunities and endowment that they have in that country.
KK, they say South Sudan is the size of Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi.
Not quite, because the size of one of South Sudan is 770,000 kilometers. Kenya is 582,000. Uganda is 240,000.
So Kenya and Uganda?
Yes, Kenya and Uganda, you can say.
Combined?
Combined. Well, you take away 1,000, you know, 100 square kilometers, but that's what it is. But let's face it, and I think this is what people really know. Globally, what is the size of Africa? The size of Africa is 33 million square kilometers. It is bigger than New Zealand, China, India, Western Europe, the whole of America, and Argentina put together.
Inside Africa.
And you will still be left with a piece of land in Africa. That is how big Africa is. You know, Kenya, it is about 60%, about almost 6 times the size of Africa. It's a huge continent with enormous extractive resources. And we can do so much to change the paradigm of our development. I wish our leaders can understand what is it that we have in Africa. And more so at the domestic level. It's incredible.
With about a minute and change left to go to the show, KK. If you were to tell our leaders, if they're watching you right now, the one thing, the two things that Obama came, did, saw, and left with us, that's going to help carry us forward, what is that?
Before I answer that question, I want to commend the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, because she has institutionalized that position in a manner that we are very proud of that lady. And I commend you, Your Excellency, Margaret Kenyatta. But above all, last Friday, she launched County First Ladies Association. That's another great institution that has been created by the First Ladies of our counties. Now, I'm very excited by that institution. Why? Because I subscribe very strongly to the whole matrix of institutional development. Because that's how you can leave a legacy. And Margaret Kenyatta will have left legacy with this zero campaign that she has.
Beyond Zero.
Beyond Zero campaign that she has started. That's an incredible thing. So I am looking at the County First Ladies Association to be such an institution that is going to really transform our respective countries. And I do hope that they are going to really change the landscape. And I'm saying that because I was invited by the First Ladies to address them as a keynote speaker during the launch of their strategic plan. And I can tell you, there is a lot of dynamism and a lot of promise for the future as far as our county First Ladies are concerned. Now, to respond to your question, if I was to speak to our leaders regarding what Obama did and what does it mean?
Yeah.
A couple of things. One, what Obama came here to do is to demonstrate the possibilities that exist in ourselves. Him being the personification of that possibilities. That's one of the things that Kenyans should learn from Kenya American president. He's no longer American president.
No.
It is Kenya American president.
He said to himself.
That's the first thing, the possibilities.
Yeah.
The second thing he demonstrated is that you need to be patriotic as Kenyans. We don't have to go to the American president to tell him these are the problems that we have in this country. The American president was asking themselves, I have no way of dealing with your problems. So what do you want me to do? Basically what he was saying is that you can deal with your problems. Believe in possibility thinking. Believe in possibility thinking. Finally, what Obama did is to inspire the young generation of this country. And believe you me, this country will never, never, ever be the same again with the visit of the Kenyan American president.
Number 44.
Number 44.
Yes, we can.
Anytime.
Yes, we can.
Thank you, my brother.
KK, good to see you as always.
It's a pleasure.
Great stuff. Great insights from Karanja Kabage, a.k.a. just plain KK, calling it like he sees it without fear or favor. Kenya will never be the same again after the visit of one of our own. Wow. Keep tweeting at Karanja Kabage, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag is KK. Tomorrow night, you're going to fall in love with this 10-year-old just like I did. She's a gymnast, she's a superstar, she's originally from the slums of Huruma. Wendy Waeni is breaking hearts and setting records. She's performed in front of, among other people, President Kenyatta, President Kagame, and a whole host. She's been as far as China, on her way to Europe. You want to see her. She's going to inspire an entire nation. Tomorrow night, Wendy Waeni, right here on Jeff Koinange Live. Thanks so much for watching. Good night. Good luck.